Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into some of the latest movements in one of the most watched dividend ETFs in the market, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, ticker symbol SCHD. Whether you're an income-focused investor, a dividend enthusiast, or someone keeping an eye on institutional activity, you'll want to stick around because we're breaking down the most recent filings, what the numbers mean, and how different financial firms are positioning themselves in this ETF. This video is for informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research or consult a professional before making any investment decisions. Let's start with the news that's catching a lot of attention. GWN Securities, Inc., a well-known institutional investor, has significantly reduced its holdings in SCHD. According to their latest 13F filing with the SEC, GWN Securities decreased its stake by more than a third, specifically 34.1% during the third quarter. To put this into numbers, GWN Securities sold 27,619 shares, leaving them with a total of 53,287 shares in SCHD. At the time of the filing, those remaining shares were valued at approximately $1.46 million. This move has raised some eyebrows because a change of this magnitude can signal different things. Either a reallocation of their portfolio, an adjustment to risk exposure, or possibly a response to broader market conditions affecting dividend-focused ETFs. But GWN Securities isn't the only firm making moves in SCHD. Other hedge funds and advisory firms have been active in increasing their stakes. Let's go through some of the most notable transactions. MOKAN Wealth Management, Inc. is one example. During the second quarter, they expanded their position in SCHD by 4.9%. That means they purchased an additional 6,985 shares, bringing their total ownership to 150,769 shares, valued at roughly $3.995 million. This shows a clear vote of confidence in the ETF, suggesting that MOKAN sees potential in SCHD's dividend-focused strategy and long-term growth prospects. Similarly, Advisory Resource Group increased its stake by 4.4% during the second quarter. They added 2,520 shares to their portfolio, bringing their total to 59,500 shares, which translates to around $1,577,000. Even though the increase is smaller in absolute numbers compared to MOKAN, the percentage growth is meaningful, indicating that the firm is gradually building a position rather than making a large one-time bet. Next up is DMKC Advisory Services, LLC, which took a more aggressive approach during the third quarter. They upped their holdings by 10.6%, acquiring 20,989 additional shares. After this purchase, their total ownership reached 219,680 shares, valued at nearly $6 million. This is a significant stake, and the increase of over 10% shows confidence in SCHD's stability and dividend reliability, especially in a market where income-generating assets are highly sought after. Meanwhile, Welch Group LLC went even bigger, at least in terms of percentage growth. In the second quarter, they increased their position in SCHD by 44.7%, buying an additional 3,624 shares. This brought their total ownership to 11,724 shares, valued at around $311,000. A nearly 45% increase is substantial, especially for a smaller position, signaling that Welch Group sees an opportunity to benefit from SCHD's performance or upcoming market trends. And finally, one of the most notable additions comes from AE Wealth Management, LLC. During the second quarter, they increased their holdings by a solid 13.2%, purchasing an extra 37,403 shares. After this purchase, AE Wealth Management now owns a total of 321,104 shares, which translates to roughly $8.5 million. This makes AE Wealth one of the larger holders in the ETF and demonstrates strong confidence in SCHD's long-term dividend strategy. Of course, while institutional moves are important, it's also crucial to look at the ETF's actual market performance. As of the most recent trading session, SCHD opened at $28.62 per share. Over the past 12 months, its price has fluctuated between a low of $23.87 and a high of $28.84, indicating relatively moderate volatility for an equity ETF. Looking at the technical side, SCHD's 50-day simple moving average sits at $27.50, while its 200-day moving average is around $27.30. These averages suggest a stable trend with relatively consistent performance over both the short and long term. The ETF has a market capitalization of $74.85 billion price to earnings ratio of 14.57 and a beta of 0.77. For those who may not be familiar, a beta below 1 indicates that the ETF tends to be less volatile than the broader market, a feature that dividend-focused investors often appreciate. Now, you might be wondering, what does all this movement really mean for someone considering SCHD as part of their portfolio? When you see a major player like GWN Securities cutting back, it might signal caution or portfolio restructuring. However, it's equally important to note that several other institutions are adding shares, and in some cases, increasing their positions significantly. This mixed activity shows that while some investors are reducing exposure, others see value and stability in SCHD. In a market environment where income is highly valued, dividend ETFs like SCHD are appealing. The steady demand from advisory firms and wealth management companies suggests confidence in the ETF's ability to deliver consistent income, even in periods of market uncertainty. SCHD's trading range, moving averages, and beta indicate relatively low volatility and steady performance. This aligns well with its purpose as a dividend-focused ETF, providing reliable income while mitigating extreme swings in value. For long-term investors, observing the movements of institutional investors can provide valuable insights. Incremental increases in holdings by multiple advisory firms may point to expectations of continued dividends and stable growth, which could influence individual investment decisions. SCHD continues to attract attention from both large and small investors, with a mix of buying and selling activity shaping its recent performance. GWN Securities' significant reduction might catch headlines, but when you look at the broader picture, the majority of institutional activity points toward confidence in the ETF. Firms like AE Wealth, DMKC Advisory, MOKAN Wealth Management, and others are building positions, indicating that they see SCHD as a strong income-generating asset. For those looking to add stability and reliable dividends to their portfolios, SCHD remains a compelling option. While no investment is risk-free, its moderate volatility, attractive PE ratio, and consistent demand from institutional investors all contribute to its appeal. All right, that wraps up today's deep dive into the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, SCHD. We've looked at the latest institutional moves, trading performance, and what it all means for investors. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any updates. See you in the next video.